start with the who. Who are the people who are interested in knowing what's happening in our project? And who are the people that we want to be interested in what we're doing with our project, okay? I think from the outset, I do think we have a tendency to think about impact reporting as being about our funders and being something that we do to report back to the people who gave us the money. Okay, and that is a very important part of impact reporting, and that's perfectly legitimate, but it is only one part of impact reporting because your funders are only one set of stakeholders, and your projects and your organizations have many different stakeholders that should be kept abreast of what you're doing and should be able to follow along and learn from your projects as well. Okay, so thinking about being open and transparent with all of your stakeholders is a really good way to maintain relationships with people that help facilitate your work potentially, build trust and strengthen engagement, and also to foster learning. So if you think about it, the more people that are following along what's happening, the more perspectives and eyes there are on that, the more people there are to contribute perspectives and contribute to the learning process. And all of that serves to help strengthen the work that we're doing in communities. So I'd say, let's get this out of the way. Obviously, funding partners and donors are a key set of stakeholders that you're going to want to be speaking with. What about local officials in your impact communities? Could be the people who run the local clinic, the people who run the local schools. It could be elected officials. It could be, chiefs or traditional authorities in communities that you may be working with. I would say that project beneficiaries themselves are also an important stakeholder group to consider how you're going to report back to them and share stories of impact or learning and progress along the way. Other NGOs or CBOs working in your space. And by that, I mean both physical space. So who else is working in your community that should be aware of what you're doing and the change that's being created, because it has an implication on their planning and their work for their own projects as well. You're in that together, right? Serving the same people in the same place. But I also mean other NGOs or CBOs that might be working on similar issues or implementing similar projects to you. How can you share what you're doing with them so that you can help them to learn and improve what their own activities based on what you've learned? But how can you share what you are experiencing and gain perspective and feedback from them that you can also learn from to strengthen what you're doing? And the last piece, I think often the most overlooked piece from a formal reporting perspective, are your internal audiences. So who are the other people within your organization who need to know what you're up to and what's happening, what's changing, what's working, what's not, how things are going to be impacted by lessons learned in the most recent project period. So, if you may be really focused on a particular project, it might be only one project of a series of projects within a larger organization or body. How do you share what you're doing with your colleagues that are working on something different? How do you share it with management? How do you share it with volunteers? How do you share it with boards of directors? Mark, anyone else?
I'm just wondering if you would also add media to this list.
Absolutely. That's a great one. Yeah.